And I see that we are going to have our next speaker come up. And Tiffany, are you in the house? Where are you? Oh, there you are. Oh my goodness, girl. I've not seen you with your hair up. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
Because I've been staring at your picture, right? And then I know you and at the show and what have you. And I don't remember who got to interview you at the Emmys, but it was fantastic. It was me?
It
Okay,
was you.
good. There you
It
go.
was you. I know it's a lot of people. And the beautiful thing about being a Black woman in our hair, we get to transform our crowns however we desire when we desire. So
Well, it looks fantastic. Beautiful color on you. Ladies, let me introduce to you the Tiffany Cox. She's amazing. She's such a cheerleader of us, and we so appreciate you very much. Thank you for coming and joining with us today. So beautiful. So beautiful. Let me tell some people some things about you because they may not know about you. I know the girls that were down there did, and they were very excited to hear you come on today. So Tiffany is an actor and director and writer. She is a first generation Trinidadian. And I got to say, you're the first generation Trinidadian that I have introduced onto the stage. So thank you for that. She plays the role, if any of you see Reasonable Doubt, you know the show Reasonable Doubt? Yeah. So she is Autumn Owens. So awesome. Now when you see the show, you're going to go, oh yeah, there she is. The topic that we're going to have a conversation about today is about using her voice, using my voice, using your voice beyond the screen. Oh my goodness, so very, very cool. What you may not know about her is don't put a bag of salt and pepper chips around this woman because she will open it up once and the whole bag will be gone. And sister, I'm the same way. I'm the same way. Don't bring chips here. People think you have chocolate everywhere. I'm like, I don't even care about chocolate. They're like, I go, don't you dare bring a bag of chips in this house. So anyways, salt and black and pepper chips. She'll do it all in one seating. And the music she's grooving to right now is soca music. And I hope I say this correctly because even though I looked them up, Kez the band, is it Kez the
that's
band?
right.
Okay, cool.
Yep,
cool,
Kez
cool.
the band.
So, even when you see the word or listen to them, you're like, well, I hope that's what it is. That's her favorite band right now. So let's talk a little bit about what it is when you say using your voice beyond the screen. What does that look like?
Definitely. I have the wonderful opportunity to be on this really big show, Reasonable Doubt, that's EP'd by Kerry Washington, Larry Wilmore, Ramla Muhammad. So I have a platform. And with having a platform, I think comes some form of responsibility and also a beautiful gift to share your voice, to share your presence, and maybe bring up an issue you were thinking about, or maybe supporting an individual who could use some support and some visibility. And so how that's looked like for me in this particular season, for season 3 of the show. We just got our season 4 announcement. Yes, 2 days ago. Oh, which is just,
yeah, I know, right?
God,
that's a different breath, isn't it?
Yes. Where somebody was talking about breathing earlier, I was like, yes, let's all take a deep breath of thanks. Like, thank you, God. But for me, for season 3, what this has looked like is having the chance to do screenings at a business that was failing. There was a business in Atlanta called Eat My Biscuits. Beautiful woman from Chicago, delicious food. They have a ton of construction happening in front of her business. So business started plummeting. You know how hard it is for the restaurant business. So I was like, listen, honey, you know what? I'm in a place economically where I could use this space for free to screen a show. I will bring an audience because people want to meet Autumn. People want to hang out with the cast and crew, and we can get some money drummed in here. We sold out 90% of the space. And when I say sold out, I mean people just deciding to come. And then also in the moment, my social media team, they're like, remember rent parties back in the day? Let's pass around a cup. Raised $1,200 on the spot. And in addition, you never know who's in the room. Ended up that Kay Camp, who's a rapper, his mother was in the room. She has access to small business grants. So she is working on giving that to the business to save this business. So it's been that philanthropy arm that has come out where it's such a blessing to be on a show, but it's even more of a blessing. My mission is to expose the world one story at a time. And I'm getting to do that beyond just the show that I'm in. Now I get to do it with other businesses or people who could use just a little bit of a helping hand.
Oh, I love that. And you know what? Thank you for that reminder of the rent cup. When you said that, I was like, do you remember, does anyone ever remember getting a call or getting a this, or even on our street, we had a really cool, like when my kids were young, they got to say thank you to me at some point. No, they do. They're lovely. But we had this great street that if someone had a baby, and because I like to cook, I was cooking all the meals. And someone else did this, and someone else did that, and someone else, because, you know, and we don't have a lot of that, you know, a lot of that community idea. But I remember the rent cup, or when someone's business was falling or failing, particularly if it was like a bricks and mortar location, which that's how it used to be. We're all in the world of the digital, but it used to be this bricks and mortar. I even get nervous when my son, you know, Ocean, and he's like, I want to have a store. And I actually get these nervous feelings of angst. And I was like, okay, there's stores out there, they're successful. Because I remember when someone didn't have a successful store or what have you, we'd all go, we'd eat there, or we'd, you know, shop there or whatever.
Exactly. And what is this life about if I'm not sharing it with other people? It's about community, bringing things together, and we're going to move so much farther together. I've always had a dream of mine to create a scholarship for my alma mater, Catawba College in Salisbury, North Carolina, this small little school, but it taught me how to be a really good person. And I always thought, oh, I need to be like a multimillionaire before I create a scholarship. And I was like, wait a second. I have an audience. So once again, it was homecoming weekend a couple weeks ago, and I said, let's do a screening. I'm going to get people to raise money. We're going to have a $5,000 scholarship that we can give to a student who's a part of the Black Student Union, who is showing promise in the performing arts and also needs a little bit of financial help. Let me tell you, this was the first time, I shouldn't say it's one of the prominent times as of recently where Catawba had their alma mater finally give back. Right now, only 4% of our alma mater gives back. My scholarship, 70% of the people gave back. And just because they had somewhere now to give their money. So I'm just sitting in this world right now, as you very well introduced, of like, how do we use our voice? How do we use our presence in order to support more people, to be in community? Because yes, I have this beautiful gift of being Autumn on the show, but I can expand it with my audience, and we can make some even more beautiful things happen to support people in community.
I think that's gorgeous. And I think it also gives people another perspective of what can happen when greatness starts to happen for you, right?
Yeah.
When greatness starts to happen for you, and how we can utilize that. I mean, one of the words that the conversation we had about was about activism. And is that what we're talking about here? Is activism?
That's completely what we're talking about. And since I'm an artist, I say artivism. And it began with me, where I did a lot of work for equity in hair and makeup. So let me give you guys a little bit of a background. So for all of time, for a performer of color with textured hair or a different tone of skin, there has been a lot of atrocities on set or on a stage. So what that looks like is somebody's hair getting singed off. That means that they don't have the correct foundation. So I have not met a person of color who does not have a horror story of something they've gone through, where they have either been maimed, their body, or they look crazy when they go onto set. So I was like, you know what? It's time to get curious about this, because we're talking about this, but nothing's changing. I was like, nothing's changing because we're just complaining in our little circles. So the curse and the blessing of COVID was that everybody went to Zoom. So I was able to grab A-listers like Cheryl Lee Ralph, Lisa Ann Walter, Jason George, Michelle Hurd, and more people, in order to sit down via Zoom and say, what is going on? Why is this an issue? And how can we fix it? And we did. I created codified language that went into our SAG-AFTRA contract, noting that we have to have qualified hair and makeup artists on set in order to support people of color and those with textured hair. And what that looks like is making sure that there's a consultation available. You as an actor can ask for the consultation. Also, they should offer the consultation, so that when you walk onto set, they're going to realize that, oh, Tiff's got shaved sides, but she's playing a mom. Maybe we want to have a wig for her. Or making sure that they know what, for a man, for example, for Black men, sometimes the type of razor they use, it can it can create a lot of havoc for their skin. So making sure they have the correct thing on set already versus assuming that they know what it is what they see in the moment. So that was a huge win. And also part of the thing of like when using a platform, using my voice, and then, you know, getting my A-lister friends to say, hey, can you guys help out and find a way to support and fix this? And they did. So that's another example of my artivism with work.
That's amazing. And I, again, think that it gives people a different perspective. We talk about, you know, people, it's not just about having a platform, it's about how you use it. It's not just having a platform, but the good that can happen with it. And the posturing and the connections of being able to move in a direction to get done. I mean, and it happens to be your industry, but anyone's industry, meeting the icons of that industry. How can you make movement in relationships? How can you build relationships? How you can create solutions in whatever sector that you're in as you start to move into that. And I don't want to say move or prove, but once you get brave, we talked yesterday about hashtag borrow bravery, and maybe ask someone that you think is a little bit up here and you're here. But people like to be asked, they like to be included. Don't let titles stop you from reaching up.
Oh my gosh, you were speaking my language, because it's when I stopped, when I realized that we were all in this, we were all human. We are moms. We all got to go to the bathroom. We, you know, like, we all got to eat. Like, we are all human beings. And I took away this barrier of like, oh, this is Cheryl Lee Ralph. I can't speak to her. Yes, I can. Sis, did you go through this experience? Because I'm creating a portfolio and I need different stories. Would you like to share it as I push this forward? I think, and when I started breaking the rules, these rules that are placed of who it is that I can speak to, who it is email I can get, or who I can contact, when I stopped following the rules and just started following more purpose in my voice and where my spirit was leading me, oh my gosh, the doors just busted open. And I just so encourage people to do it, obviously in a respectful way. And I think Deb has some really great resources and ways of like how to approach, or how to do the cover letter, or you know, that sort of thing, doing it in a respectful and professional way. And people are excited to connect. Somebody said it in the chat. Some folks just don't know what to do. They need to be asked. And then you're giving them the yellow brick road of where they need to be going.
Well, the other thing, thank you, Yellow Brick Road, because the color looks good on you. That fashion piece comes out, sorry. But the other piece of it is a lot of people don't ask because they have this whole rejection thing going on. Now, in your industry, you get over that rejection thing really quick, or you're not. You're not. But the other thing is for people to know, when I work with people and I work with authors, as you know, and they are reaching out to people to get forwards written, to get the back of the book written, and they're like, no one's gotten back to me. I go, why are you taking it personal? And I think part of why people don't ask is because maybe they did twice or something, and they're taking it personal and assuming the person's not getting back to them because they're of a higher level and it's making them feel smaller. When honestly, it could be easy that they're on set right now, they're writing their own book right now, you're one of 500 right now, and they stop. I'm like, what are you doing? What do you mean you stop? I'm like, let's make another list. Like, let's go, but people take it personal when they're reaching up, and up doesn't reach back.
Exactly. And I'm like, no, it's all in the follow-up. Let me give you this example. So I was at the NAACP Awards because Reasonable Doubt was nominated. We ended up sitting at this table by accident that happened to be Will Smith's company. It was their table for afterwards. But we were there. So I just stayed and sat and I chatted, had a great conversation with the president of their company, Westbrook Entertainment. And my friend and I were there, and she's somebody that I'm supporting with the business of acting. And so these are two different approaches. We both emailed this individual, did not get back to us. I followed up, I think about 5 times. It just happened that he was out of the country. Mr. Smith had something going on. He was like, oh, so great to hear from you. And also I used it, whether it was a text message or if it was an email or if it was a little tap in the IG, which then turned into him taking me out to lunch and offering hopefully we'll see everything still in the works, but offering some support from the company with a piece I'm doing about human trafficking, because, they champion that, or I should say they champion the work around that.
Yeah.
So, but the booking is in the follow-up. And not being afraid just to give a nudge, a nudge, a nudge. I tell people all the time, I'm like, please nudge me. I got 2 baby dragons. They're 2 and 5 years old. So I will see a text message and then it's like, oh, squirrel, I got to go save a child. So I forget. I'm like, please follow up. Nobody's mad about it. And again, you're doing it in a respectful way, not a stalkerish way. And you can catch the vibe if something's going to be, if it's going to continue on or if you should try or not. But I'm like, give it at least 5 to 7 tries. It's like what was it, Bed Bath & Beyond, all those coupons they send us. It's just a little tap, 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 tap. And then when you need it, you're searching for them. You need that coupon. It's the same thing.
Oh my God, you're making me laugh. You're making me laugh. And here's the interesting thing. This is a room full of self-funding, gumptious women. They have no problem contacting someone that they've met at a networking group a number of times. As soon as they feel that person is above them, it gets wavering. So I love that we're having this conversation because it's same. If you go around and build your business and you call people and they don't get back to you twice, that's going to be a tough business go, right? That's going to be a tough business go. Let's shift the conversation a little bit to when people have experiences when their business is slow, and let's talk about the industry. Let's talk about your industry, because the industry can be slow. And what is it that can artists do? And I think this is across the board in relationship to we're in certain sectors. You're in a sector, my gosh, I mean, my colleagues that have gone through the writing strike and this strike, and in certain countries, and things not happen in Hollywood North, and there's things that happen in sectors. So girl, let's talk about that.
Let's get into it. It's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So my industry is one where I will do maybe 30 auditions a month and maybe book one. And so I realized for myself as an actor, which is my first love, I say I am married to acting, writing, and directing are my girlfriends. So I needed to be able to still be creative in the quiet times. And when it comes down to it, I said before, my mission is to expose the world one story at a time. I'm a storyteller. Us artists are storytellers. So there are several different ways to do that. How else can I do it? So I started developing a skill set with directing. I started just writing some things. I started creating some pieces. And all of a sudden, people started hearing what I was up to and wanting to get on the bandwagon. Mm-hmm. So in those quiet times, I'm creating. I am not shooting right now at all. And as well, I have to say, I'm recurring on the show. I'm not the series regular. So therefore, where's my press coming from? I'm creating it myself. I'm the one that decided to go take my points and fly to North Carolina and Atlanta and do a screening and partner with a restaurant and invite people from my social media to come. I reached out to the Los Angeles Tribune because of Heather Mariana's event and got to do the red carpet, got talking to some of the people there. And I was like, hey, can you do a feature on me? And they said yes. And so that's in the works and we'll see it very soon. I drum up my own storytelling so people can know who I am. And right now as well, again, in this quiet period, I was like, my goal right now, we're going to get vulnerable, y'all. You ready for it? My goal right now is to be number one on the call sheet. How do I make sure that everybody sees that? It's by saying yes to Deb and saying, I'm going to come and be here so you guys can know who I am and hear my goal. It's also by me writing. You hear about these things, verticals. It's these new ways of watching stuff on. Oh, you see my children. There's my babies. But you watch it like just right here on your phone. And they're really short, 1 minute, 90-second dramas. I have a feature film about my life where I'm working to raise $3 million for that. And I was like, you know what? Why am I waiting for the audience for after I make the film? Let's build the audience now. Let's get to know our main character, Monet, through these verticals. And again, if you ask people, it's quiet for everybody. So I got a couple of my friends who are series regulars on shows and saying, hey, let's go shoot down in Atlanta. It's a bit cheaper there. Can you come to my parents' home and we're going to do some work? They're elated. They're excited to do that. So I'm in the quiet times creating your own story, I think, is just so pivotal. So you can remain a storyteller, you're upping your visibility, and also, again, getting rid of, somebody's put in the chat, yeah, that squirrel brain, or I also like to say lizard brain, who starts going crazy in here, thinking like, well, what am I doing? I'm not doing enough. Nobody knows. Let that go. I am wonderful. I am God made and God fearing. I can be my own cheerleader, storyteller, and get my work out there so people see it. So that's what I'm doing in the quiet times. And I encourage other artists, or just also other people, and y'all doing it already. I've been hearing it. Y'all doing it already. Create it, because the Calvary is not coming.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, that, Kathy, let's add that to the t-shirt. The Calvary is not coming. The community's here, but the Calvary is not coming. And you know, yes. I'm a big believer. Like, if you came here and outside of this, and I'm like, I say that my office looks like a Tony Robbins garage sale, because I have things everywhere. It's important. I have 4 treasure maps. I sat with Ocean, and I'm like, okay, we're going to do your want dump. And we write it on, you should see the size of whiteboard of everything that he wants, we want it. And we don't end up at the end of the year. And if we didn't get everything, and we don't, because we think big, then it's okay, but we put it somewhere to be seen. And I think it's important to voice it. Like, it's important to tell people what you're looking for, and tell people, because you just told us our streaming heard it, they'll hear it on the women's channel, right? And so it goes in there. And so when I say that, I was like, oh man, you and Suzette should have a conversation, and you and Cassandra should have a conversation, and all those things, because you say what you're looking for, and then the neurons go off, and it by nature can come through the most interesting, creative ways, right? Exactly. Jack Canfield, and most of you probably know who Jack Canfield is, but if you don't, like Chicken Soup for the Soul and all that. So I met him eons ago, when I was owning direct sales companies, and he's really big in that industry as a speaker. And so the conversation was that he had on his wall in the office everything that he wanted. He had his top chunk, it wasn't even 3, of everything that he wanted in the office. And so someone walked into his office, and they were waiting for him to come in and have a meeting. And excuse me, I do not remember what kind of plane it was, but there was only like 2 or 3 pilots that could fly this kind of plane. And it was a fighter jet. And he just wanted to have an experience being in the fighter jet. And it was on the wall. And so, he comes in to have a meeting with this guy, and he's like, you want to fly in that jet? He's like, oh yeah, it's on my list. He goes, I'm one of 2 people in this country that can fly them. So sure, let's go up. The guy was in for an interview, who knew? But if he didn't see that on his wall, he didn't talk it, he wrote it, that would not have been able to be crossed off his list. So I think it's really important to keep that alive and tell people, even in the quiet conversations. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you for that. And I know that you're all writing yours down, and you're probably going to put it in the chat. Not a bad idea. Pat's shaking your head, yes. Pat's shaking your head, yes. We are, wrap up time, but I want to ask you, because everyone's always very fascinated about the world of entertainment, because it's so vast and such a creative place. If you can, in these next couple of minutes, share, did you always know? Like, how did you end up in the sector that you're in? How did you end up doing what you're doing? So
we're going to go a little dark for a second, guys, but we'll get back to the light. So I was in high school, and I was doing just theater for funsies. And there was an after school play that I was a part of. It's called Bang, Bang, You're Dead by William Master Simone. It was written after the Columbine shootings. So it was all about this character, Josh, kills his friends and the principal. And then he realizes that he shouldn't do the things that he did. So we would always do a talk back after this play. And at the second talk back, a kid raised his hand and said, we asked the question, sorry. So we asked this question, does anybody in the audience feel like the main character, Josh? At the second performance, a kid raised his hand and said, I've always felt like Josh, but now I know I can't do the things that he did. The power of words. And that's why I'm an actor.
Very cool. Thank you, thank you, thank you. My dear friend, this will not be the first or last time that you are sharing and being with us on stage. I'm hope that to see you when we come back down, when the crew comes back down in March 12th.
Wow.
By
Yeah.
Mariana, and we'll, I'm sure, be at Darren Darnborough's event as well, whatever he's doing.
Right.
So cool things.
Right.
But thank you so much for sharing. Please put into the chat whatever you want to remind us of. I'm sure we can go like something in terms of your social. I'm sure we can support some way.
Yeah, please follow me at Tiffany Yvonne Cox. I'm working on that visibility, like I noted, and anything else. I'm just on my road to raising $3 million for this really sweet film about my life. I was on my way to get married to a man who, unbeknownst to me, was already married. So I pivoted my life and I became a shepherd of goats in France. So we were working on getting any sort of connections in the world of France. If anybody has those, would love to connect with people. Once they read it, they desire it. So yeah, that's what I say. But what a beautiful time. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Let's do hearts and let's do jazz hands. And again, everyone's kind of muted, or we would be a lot louder. Hit the reaction button. Thank you so much, Tiffany. Oh my God.